Hello and welcome back again. It's day 17 of taking an IELTS speaking mock test from jumpinto.com, and I am the IELTS test taker Rajendra Pokhrel, and you are watching my YouTube channel UV's Flair. I have taken almost like 25 tests from this website, and my score has always been like 6.0 and 6.5. I am trying to improve my score up to 7.5, and let's see when will I improve my score. And without delay, let's proceed to today's session. The first session is about jewelry, and now you will hear questions from my laptop speaker.
How often do you wear jewelry?
Well, talking about my country Nepal, men don't usually wear jewelry, so I don't like to wear jewelries, and there is also no any culture or tradition that particularly emphasizes on the persons or male person who like to wear jewelry. So maybe that's why I don't like to wear jewelry, as I have always seen this culture from my childhood. And uh, talking about my particular trait, I think I also don't like jewelry because I have never been used to like wearing jewelry since my childhood.
What type of jewelry do you like best?
Although I don't like to wear jewelries, I have a certain affection towards some certain jewelries like earrings or maybe hand rings or maybe bracelets. I often buy those earrings and hand rings for my sister, and I like jewelries fitted with some diamond like shapes or maybe gold jewelries. And similarly, I also like these kind of ornaments that Nepalese women usually wear in their neck, and they often wear those kind of necklaces and other ornaments during Nepali festivals like Dasai, Tihar, and Tej.
When do people like to give jewelry in your country?
In my country, Nepal, people tend to gift or give jewelries to other peoples and relatives or maybe their closed ones during certain ceremonies like their birthdays or maybe different cultural programs like Dasai, Tihar, and these. These cultures or these festivals are one of the largest festivals of Hindu culture, and people often gift these ornaments and jewelries during these occasions. And most of those in those occasions, people often gift jewelries like hand bracelets and maybe or necklaces or even rings for their hands and toes.
Have you ever given jewelry to someone as a gift?
Although personally I don't like to wear jewelries, but yeah, I do like to gift jewelries for the others. And recently I gifted my on necklace to my sister, and that was a golden necklace. I gifted on her that necklace on her 24th birthday, and she really loved that necklace, and she was quite happy after receiving that. And similarly, I gifted a small ring to my mother, and she was quite happy after receiving that small ring. Although it was a small gift, but she really appreciated that ring because it was bought from my first salary. So yeah, I do like to gift jewelries to my closed ones. So here is the end of speaking session part 1, and we will now proceed to section 2. The question is about interesting TV program I have watched about a science topic, and I have to say the what science topic this TV program was about, and when I saw this TV program. And third question is what I learned from this TV program, and at the last I have to say why I found this TV program interesting. I do like to watch TV programs and that particularly emphasize on science and technology topics. As a student of science and technology, I really like to watch those programs whenever I get time. And talking about a recent program that I watched was about a space program, and that was telecasted in Discovery Channel, and it was about a space program conducted by the SpaceX technology. And during in that program a rocket was being launched to the moon outer surface, and the engineers were really monitoring all those equipments, and they were constantly watching their monitors and trying to maintain the trajectory of that like spaceship. I saw this program like around 2 weeks ago, as far as I remember. And from that TV program, I really learned a lot of things. Like I I visually saw how space program really conducts, and how all those systems in that space programs are maneuvered, and how those space astronauts are really placed inside an spacecraft. The one of the most fascinating thing that really grabbed my attention from that program was seeing those astronauts walking via or escalator that was really floating in the sky, and that was like a magnetic escalator or similar. I don't exactly know about that technology, but yeah, that was quite interesting and that really fascinated me. And I will like to experience those kind of moments in my life, and I am really looking forward to those moments. And and in the end, I really like those programs who really show the different parts of the science and technology. And whenever I found that some program is being telecast on the television, I tune to that program and I watch those programs with my open mindset and with total focus. Let's move on to the section 3 of IELTS speaking mock test. And the topic is about science and the public and scientific discoveries.
How interested are most people in your country in science?
In present context, most of the people in my country are really focused towards science, as the facilities of education are provided even in the remote places. People, especially the children, are really focused towards science, and they come up with different project ideas. Although those project ideas are not completely new, and they copy those ideas from watching some YouTube videos or maybe other online researches. But yeah, I have to say many people in my country are really interested towards science, and they tend to cover all the topics of science as long as they understand it. Not only the children, some adults, or the maybe some adults of our parents generation are also interested towards science, as the social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter uh, are being used by every citizens of my country. And by watching those videos from those platforms, older generations are also interested towards science, and they watch videos like how does a car gets driven in the road, how does a spaceship uplifts from the ground, or even how does a fan works. So yeah, all of the people in my country from different generation really like science topic, and they are quite interested towards knowing the basic principles of science and technology.
Why do you think children today might be better at science than their parents?
I have to agree with this statement, and because the children in today's time are quite better at science than their parents, because our parents didn't have much access to the school educations, or maybe different online platforms or internet websites like or Facebook and Twitter. But the students or children of today's time have got access to these different platforms, and they can learn from these resources. Similarly, our parents used to work like tirelessly during the day, and they only read during the night times. But in today's time, the children are only focused towards their studies, and I think That's the reason most of the children of today's generation are quite better at science as compared to their parents. Similarly, in today's time, most of the youngsters or children have cell phones in their hand and different electronic gadgets in their hands from where they learn about the science. So this could be the reasons that that the youngsters or the Gen Z generation of today's time are quite better at science.
How do you suggest the public can learn more about scientific developments?
In my personal view, I think public can learn more about scientific development via reading newspaper or news articles, and similarly maybe being updated with those television and radio programs. They can listen and they can tune and listen to the any program that are being televised or forecasted in different TV platforms or radio programs. Similarly, people in today's generation have mobiles in their hands and they can just get updated from those online resources like I already said, like Facebook, Twitter, and yeah, even the general public can get updated from those resources. And I really like to suggest those younger people who don't really know how to those cell phones, they need to focus on the newspaper and articles, as articles and newspapers of today's time really also focus on the science and technology topics rather than just the old entertainment and the politics of the certain country. So in general, people need to uh, have habit of reading newspapers via in a platform. Doing so, they can get updated towards the recent scientific development all around the world.
What do you think are the most important scientific discoveries in the last 100 years?
Well, comparing the most important scientific discoveries in the last 100 years, I have to say the advancement in communication sector and transportation, and maybe even in daily life products. I have to say there has been a drastic change as compared to the last 100 years. In mm, like in before or in the 20th century, people used to ride horses for means of transportation, and only certain engines were developed. But in today's time there are vehicles which run entirely on electric, and they are and even on hydrogen fuel. So that is one of the drastic scientific improvement in the today's time. Similarly, there was not any artificial intelligence or any AI chatbots in the 100 before the 100 years, but in today's time there are really advanced AI platforms like chat gpt or maybe gemini. These are really the topmost advancement of today's time. Similarly, a lot of things has changed in communication sector also. In the past, people used to send maybe letters or emails only, but in today's time you can just video chat with any person around the world and you can communicate within a second. So everything has changed in scientific discoveries as compared to the last 100 years.
Do you agree or disagree that there aren't any more major scientific discoveries left to make? Do you agree or disagree that there aren't any more major scientific discoveries left to make?
Although this is a tricky question, but I have to completely disagree with that statement that there are no major scientific discoveries left to make, because there are a lot of things uh, that can be discovered in near future. Like we haven't known anything about the deep sea, and we really don't know anything about the outer space, and maybe even the human anatomy and other like also. So there is a lot of room for scientific discoveries in near future. Even though we have advanced in different aspects of transportation, communication, and maybe artificial intelligence, but there is a vast majority of section which is still undiscovered, and there are a lot of things to be done in those sectors. Like yes, for example, the electricity is being transferred via wires, but in near future we can do that, we can transfer. But in the near future, if we can transfer electricity without wire, and that could be the greatest achievement of the mankind. And doing so, there will be no any issues of power shortages or maybe electrocution for workers. Similarly, if we could explore the outer space, like if we could build a civilization in the Mars planet, then that could be the another greatest achievement for the mankind. So there is a vast room for the improvement in science and technologies, and scientists or even the general people need to focus on those areas, rather than saying that everything has been discovered and there is no room for improvement.
Who should pay for scientific research? Governments or private companies?
Well, managing the financial budget for the scientific research really depends upon the topic. If these topics or research were completely led or organized by government sector, then government need to fund for those research sessions. But if the research sessions are just conducted by the private institutions, then private companies should focus on it. But saying so, if the students or maybe general public are trying to research on different topics, then government should provide a certain fund or scholarship for those kind of research aspirants. For example, if someone, a private company like SpaceX, is researching on a Mars planet, then SpaceX can fund for those research assistants. But let's take an example like NASA. NASA is a publicly funded or a government organization. So if NASA is trying to research on different topics, then government should fund for it. I personally think that research is a personal choice, and our research experience should manage its own expenses, either by talking to a private institution or maybe handing some scholarships from the government institutions. But as a whole, the government and the private institutions should work in cooperation, and should inspire young generations to focus more on research topics. So that's the end of today's speaking test, and I have concluded my test. Thanks for watching.